Oh, you probably came here for the Sonic review, didn't you? Well, let's get to that. Gotta go fast.
Guys, Sonic 2 is dropping this Friday, April 8th, and wow, I am so very excited to talk about this movie, guys, because I had a blast checking this out, and I hope you do too. But hey, before we dive into this review, welcome into the channel. If you're new here, the name's Leo Rydell. This is Geekly Goods, where we talk the latest in movies, TV, Marvel, DC, anime, any little corner of the geekverse we can hit, y'all. We hitting it here on the channel. So go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button down below, and let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was a great follow-up to the first movie, I thought. I mean, right on par with it for me, maybe even a notch better, to be honest. It was really good, you guys. We bring back Ben Schwartz as Sonic this time, but this time we are also bringing in Idris Elba as Knuckles, Colleen Shaughnessy as Tails, which we get that familiar feeling from Tails. Love it. Bringing back the original voice actor was a great idea. And then, of course, you bring back Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, and then James Marsden as well as Tom, and Tika Sumpter as Maddie. Now, I am so excited to say that I really enjoyed this one, but there's one or two elements that are really bringing this series back, so we will talk about that in our next section. But first, we're gonna start out, guys, with what I thought worked for the movie, and look, I really like the trio of Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. Bringing in Tails and Knuckles was a great decision for the series to bring in some fresh voices and some familiar ones as well to help liven up Sonic, because not that he's bad or anything, or not that he's even annoying. Look, I love Sonic as a character, and Ben Schwartz does a great job, but it's great to bring in more characters to really balance that character out in this second movie. Man, Idris Elba as Knuckles, I just gotta say, what a standout of this movie. He put in the perfect charisma for this character, and he was the perfect Knuckles, the tough guy exterior with a bit of a bonehead type of, interior. Knuckles is the smartest of the bunch, but he's definitely the strongest and most fierce warrior of the three, and he definitely embodied that energy very, very well. I really enjoyed his Knuckles. I thought that Idris Elba just brought such a great new energy to this franchise that is going to help it down the road. Now, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, sorry, I'm struggling with her last name, but she was fantastic as Tails per usual. Smart, witty, funny, really played off of Sonic very well, and Sonic brings those usual quips that he does with these great pop culture references that when you hear them, man, they got a loud chuckle out of me, that's for sure. So Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails are excellent, and let's be real, that's the most important element of the movie, followed by Dr. Robotnik. Look, Jim Carrey shows up again as Robotnik and does a great job with his body humor that he does so well and has done so well throughout his entire career. Seriously, he did a great job as Robotnik yet again with this silly, over-the-top, literal mustache twirly villain here. So I love our main cast of characters from the Sega franchise. They are fantastic, and look, the visuals are great as well. The visuals to follow up the great characters. The visual effects are awesome. Knuckles and Tails look believable and real, and not to mention even just their abilities. Sonic with the spinning ball, Knuckles with the cracking knuckles, Tails with the tails flying, literally look brought to life. So they do a fantastic job of bringing these visual effects to a really believable look without it looking horrifying like it did in the old trailer. Y'all remember that, don't you? Oh man, that was rough, and it feels like that was an eternity ago, but man, they have come a long way since then. So things are really good visually, things are really good with the characters. The story is good too, because the story borrows a lot of elements from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is the first appearance of Knuckles the Echidna, and it really does pretty much use the same story of Robotnik tricking Knuckles into somehow obtaining the Master Emerald. It very much plays off of that story with its own beats added to it, of course, but it does a great job of incorporating that game lore into the movie. So there are so many good things about this movie, from the funny, quippy, great characters to the really great story that they borrow from. Of course, the Master Emerald, the lore of the emeralds, really well done. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails visually look great, and the voice actors are fantastic. But let's talk about one big thing, one big glaring issue that I'm starting to see with the Sonic movies, and unfortunately, that's the human element. I mean, seriously, outside of Robotnik, because let's be real, Robotnik pretty much belongs in the Sonic cast. He's a central character in that cast. Besides those central characters, it's not that I don't like Tom Wachowski and Maddie, it's just that, unfortunately, I think their part in this takes too big of a front seat for a portion of the movie, and it slows the pacing down. We are in these really exciting scenes where Sonic is snowboarding, for example, and then it will cut to a human scene. So Maddie and Tom are off on a wedding in this movie, and unfortunately, separating the humans from Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails, separating them from them, unfortunately, did harm to the movie overall, because then you have to cut away from the activity going on with Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails, back over to what's going on with Tom and Maddie, and sometimes it just takes away from the movie and makes it feel like the things going on with Tom and Maddie are a completely different movie. Unfortunately, I just think that it weighed a little too heavy on the plot overall, and I think that they could have really reeled that back, cut out 30 minutes, and really cut out some of the human element in this movie to really give us less time, first off, less runtime, and more time with Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails, who is what the movie's about, and Robotnik. So I just think, unfortunately, the human characters, once again, slow this down. Look, it happens with almost every American Godzilla movie. We have a lot of human interaction, and it just does the same thing here. It unfortunately gets in the way of the story and the pacing, so that it makes the movie feel a tad too long, which it did kind of feel like it was taking forever to close. But if we had gotten rid of a large human sequence in the movie, would have cut out, I think, about 15-20 minutes, guys. I want to dial this down to a 140, which would have been great. But of course, they're gonna throw in the human element for a little bit of empathy, and of course to put us in the picture as well. I get it, but a little bit less would have been nice. But you all let me know down in the comments what you thought of Sonic 2 if you've seen it, and how much you're anticipating it. I know that the human element is something that some people love and maybe want more for, but I want it less from. But anyway, guys, if I had to give a rating to Sonic 2, I'm going with an 8 out of 10, guys. I think it is a strong, fun, lighthearted movie. Unfortunately, the pacing and story are hurt by the human element, and I do think if they dialed that back, I would be sitting more at an 8.5, 9 territory. But guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button down below, and we'll see you next time on Geekly Goods.